Welcome to the Martinez Athletic Center. I'm Connor Moore alongside Kelly Sarency. We have a primetime matchup tonight between the Central Washington Wildcats and the Tampa Spartans. Both teams successfully defeated the New Haven Chargers earlier today in an impressive 3 sets. Now, Kelly, what are your keys to the matchup today in this primetime affair?
Yeah, I really do think we're going to see an offensive battle tonight between both teams. Tampa notoriously having a strong offense, hitting a .436 today earlier as a team against New Haven. And Central Washington, the same thing. One of their strengths as a team is just having an efficient offense, minimizing their errors and getting their kills when they can. So I expect this to be a really competitive match tonight.
This one will surely not disappoint, as we're almost ready to get going. We have the Tampa Spartans in the home white and the Central Washington Wildcats in the maroon. Both teams look hyped to be here. Should be a very competitive game. Getting ready to start us off is Sammy Mueller, serving for the Tampa Spartans. And we're underway. Nicely executed that time by Central Washington, number 21, Madison Wegg, as they get on the board first. 1-0 Wildcats. Kyler Morgan's serve didn't quite get there. It's 1-1 early. That spike was out of bounds. Point Tampa. 2-1 Tampa lead. Sorrel Houghton to serve. An emphatic spike by Madison Weg. And this game is tied 2-2. Some early subs for the Wildcats. Bridget Webb and Nikki Cook enter the game.
Yeah, the Wildcats will keep their 6-2 offense just like they did last season with both of their sophomore setters, Nikki Cook and Gabrielle Ahara.
That point will go to the Wildcats, 3-2 Central Washington. Serving for the Wildcats, number 15, Michaela Swart. Nicely executed that time for the Spartans. And this game is tied 3-3. Subbing in for the Spartans, number 19, Courtney Vogler. Nyla Dempsey's spike was out of bounds. Point, Wildcats. A very nice spike that time by Courtney Vogler, who just entered the game, making her presence known early. Melissa Elias, who just checked into the game, is about to serve. A very nice play by Courtney Vogler. 5-4 Spartan lead. Elias' serve a little bit too far. 5-5. Subbing in for the Wildcats, Sarah Joffs. Sabrina Wheelhouse with the serve. Some nice defense from the Spartans on that sequence. And it finds the room. That's a point for Tampa. 6-5 Spartan lead. Kyla Morgan subbing in for the Wildcats. The point will go to the Wildcats as Vogler's reject was out of play. Madison Weg checks back into the game for the Wildcats. Sorrel Houghton's spike was out of play. Point Wildcats. Some intense action so far, Callie. Both teams look very confident in their play and their style and their approach.
For sure. Actually, a little higher error than probably both coaching sidelines would like right now with both offenses. But yeah, very competitive to start.
That point will go to Tampa. We are tied up 7 apiece. Taylor Fossler checks in for the Spartans. Vogler to serve. Sarah Joffs with a very nice spike there. Point Wildcats. Very nicely executed by Jen Bomir for the Spartans. Sammy Mueller and Nyla Demps check back in for the Spartans. A momentary delay.
Looks like we have a broken shoelace. So it's not just a retie. We're actually going to get a substitution out of the match so she can change her shoelace.
I'm sure the Wildcats were not anticipating that, but hopefully they have another shoe there for her. Sammy Mueller to serve for the Spartans. Very nicely executed by Nyla Demps. Point Spartans.
Yeah, Tampa doing a great job there with that unexpected substitution, serving at that player, number 6, McKenna Smith, and eventually getting the point because of it.
Sammy Mueller's serve was out of play. Point Wildcats. Kyla Morgan to serve for Central Washington. A nice spike there for number 2, Maggie McTaggart. And Central Washington is first to get to double digits as they have a 10-9 lead. A nice spike there by Madison Wegg. 11-9 Wildcat lead. A little confusion there for the Spartans, and they fall behind 12-9.
Yeah, that tight pass and a back row setter is usually a bad combination, as Sammy Mueller got caught in the net for that point.
The Wildcats up 14-9. That'll lead to a Tampa timeout by Chris Kadenak as they look to adjust. So far, the game has not disappointed with a lot of nice action. We'll see if the Spartans are able to adjust after this brief timeout. As we get ready to resume play, the Tampa Spartans hope to avenge a 4-point deficit. Kyla Morgan getting ready to serve for the Wildcats. And Tampa will get the point. Houghton to serve. Very nicely done by the Tampa Spartans on a double hit. 13-11 Wildcat lead. And the tip works that time for Central Washington. They get the point. Subbing back in for the Wildcats, Bridget Webb and Nikki Cook. A momentary delay as a wet spot on the court should resume shortly. Nicely executed by Nyla Demps. Nothing you can do on that. Too much power, too much force, and that leads to a point for the Spartans. Casey Reynolds with the serve for the Spartans. And the tip does not work that time for Bridget Webb. Point going to Tampa.
Tampa's defense doing a nice job on that play, just identifying what was happening. They were running an overload play, running a 1 and a 2, and Tampa was still able to get a double block up on their attackers.
A nice spike that time by number 6, McKenna Smith for the Wildcats. She'll get a breather after that intense spike. Checking back in, Shelby Moritzen for Central Washington. Very nicely. (16-14) Wildcat lead. A nice spike that time by Sarah Jops. 17-14 Central Washington. The point goes to the Wildcats on that one. Another timeout for the Spartans, trailing 18-14. So what do you believe the keys to avenging this 4-point deficit are, Kelly, for the Spartans?
You know, a tough thing. I think the last couple of points we've really seen Tampa's inexperience kind of shine through. So in comparison with both teams in the starting lineup, Central Washington starts 5 juniors and seniors compared to Tampa's 0. So we're just really seeing a lot of young players. That last play out, Melissa Elias, that was just a young, inexperienced setter type play where it was a tight ball. She thought it was going over the net. Clearly it didn't, and that resulted, in Central Washington getting a 4-point edge. So I think we're just having a couple of those young moments of just having the inexperience on the court that's really providing the gap between Central Washington and Tampa right now.
Absolutely. Those are some of the instances where you look back at the beginning of the season, and by the end, you definitely have corrected them. So a little bit of adjusting here for the Spartans, but hopefully they can avenge this and hopefully take the set. As Sabrina Wheelhouse gets ready to serve for Central Washington. lot of actions on both sides. Nicely kept alive by the Spartans. A nice sequence here, both sides. And the point goes to Tampa.
Does a great job of Tampa being patient on that play, especially after having to deliver Central Washington a free ball. Defensively staying patient, and Central Washington making an unexpected error, especially on a free point, which is considered on that free ball.
Nicole Dominguez to serve for the Spartans. A little confusion there for the Spartans, but they keep it alive. Very nicely executed by number 17, Jen Beaumier. And Tampa has looked like a new team after the timeout.
They sure have. That was not an easy angle for Jen Beaumier to attack either, and she went for it, and Tampa got the reward.
Dominguez's serve out of play, point Central Washington. Subbing in for Central Washington, Gabrielle Ihara. And number 21, Madison Wegg. Tampa gets the point. (19-17) Central Washington lead. A nice counter that time by the Spartans. And Tampa, with some nice defense, gets the point. 19-18 leads to a timeout by Mario Andaya for the Wildcats. We look to be in for a nice ending to the first set as we have a very competitive 19-18 ball game. Both of these teams have very experienced coaches who have been in this moment before and are going to their old playbook to try to find something that will prevail them to win this set. Molly McAvaney getting ready to serve for the Spartans, down 18-19 here. Nicely kept alive by Tampa on that sequence. And it finds the floor. We have a tie game, 19-19.
Smart play by the junior Beaumier, kind of mixing in an off-speed shot there to break up that rally and earn the point for Tampa.
McElvaney serves. Countered by Central Washington. Some more confusion that time for Tampa. Point will go to Central Washington. 20-19 Wildcat lead. And the Wildcats get the point. Shelby Moritzen serve, countered by the Spartans. Denied that time by Sarah Joffs. Point, Central Washington. Kelly, the Wildcats are really using their height to their advantage over an undersized Tampa team.
Yeah, the Wildcats have some size, and statistically, while they only have one block on the board with that last one by Sarah Joffs, their size is making Tampa kind of do different things that they don't want to do with their offense, which has had them struggling here as of late.
A nice spike that time by Molly McIlvaney, keeping Tampa within reach. 20-22 Wildcat lead. Sammy Mueller's serve. And the point goes to Central Washington. Checking back in, Sabrina Wheelhouse for the Wildcats. Kept alive there by the Wildcats. Nicely done that time by the Spartans. They get the point. Checking back in for the Spartans, number 6, Shelby Jocelyn. Point going to the Wildcats.
It's another one of those tough, just inexperienced miscommunication by two Tampa players. Fossler and Demps both looking at each other, unsure of who should go to the ball. And at that point, it's anybody's ball, just someone go after it, but results in a point for Central Washington.
We're at the match point for the Wildcats, 24-21, Central Washington lead. Serving number 19, Nikki Cook. Nyla Demps, an emphatic spike. 24-22, Wildcat lead. Courtney Vogler adding some more size for the Spartans as she checks back into the game. Served by Casey Reynolds, handled that time by the Wildcats. And the Wildcats will take the first set, 25-22. The Spartans will look to avenge a loss in the first set, taking a few minutes rest. Kelly, if you're Coach Katnack, what are your main adjustments that you're telling your team right here, down 1-0?
Yeah, I think what we saw in the first set from Tampa, especially offensively, was just very uncharacteristic of them, hitting a 184 for that set compared to earlier against New Haven, which we saw them hit a 436. I think, as a coach, I'm just talking to the team about playing our style. I think that offensively they were trying to do a lot of things just to work around the big block of the Wildcats, but while it doesn't show up in a box score, I mean, statistically they're putting up a nice block, but I think if Tampa can stick to their tempo of offense, it's nothing that they can't get around. So I think just building some confidence in their attackers, and, we just saw Nyla Demps take a big swing there, a big confidence booster. I think they just have to go out and really play their style of offense. Tampa seems to play their best when they're getting kills, and they struggled really early on in that set and came on, as of late, started to pick it up a little bit, but don't be afraid to mix in a tip here and there to kind of catch them off speed. We saw Jen Beaumier do that and have some success, but I think just sticking to their game plan and their style of play will help them win this next set.
Absolutely, and Central Washington will try to continue their success as they have utilized their height very well. Tampa is trying to find the right angles at the right time. Two very experienced coaches here, although this is the first ever meeting between the two schools. This is a good learning experience for a young Tampa team going up against a much older and more experienced Central Washington team. A team they will not see until the later rounds of the NCAA playoffs, but a team that has given them a great challenge early. And we will see if the Spartans are able to respond. And we are almost ready to start this second set. Shelby Moritzen getting ready to start off the second set for the Wildcats. That's a big start for number 16, Taylor Fossler. Tampa gets on the board first in the second set, 1-0 Spartans. Katie McKeel's serve underway. And Tampa gets the point. A nice start to the second set for the Spartans. Serve didn't quite get there for Katie McKeel. Point to the Wildcats. Tampa gets the point on a nice tip by Taylor Fossler, keeping the Wildcats off guard.
Yeah, Fossler doing a nice job already, earning 2 of Tampa's 3 points in this set with 2 back-to-back kills, mixing up one fast 3-ball in the middle and then an off-speed tip to score.
Tampa getting ready. Nicole Dominguez got it. She gets the kill. 4-1 Spartan lead. Dominguez had an amazing game earlier, recording 10 kills. Nicely kept alive by the Spartans. Nyla Demps wisely lets it go. 5-1 Tampa. Nicely executed by Sabrina Wheelhouse. She gets the point for Central Washington. Nikki Cook, who's just checked in to serve for the Wildcats. And Central Washington gets the point on the miscue by Tampa. Coach Katnack not happy with the call. That one's out of play. Point, Wildcats. 5-4 Spartan lead. Nikki Cook to serve. Handled by Dominguez. Nyla Demps with a ferocious spike. Nothing the Wildcats could do there. 6-4 Tampa. Elias' serve out of play. Point will go to Central Washington. Very nicely executed by the Spartans. They get the point. 7-5 Tampa lead. Dominguez with the serve. Central Washington gets the point. Sarah Joffs checking back in for the Wildcats. Sabrina Wheelhouse with the serve. And we have a tie ball game, 7-7 here in the second set. Wheelhouse's serve, handled by the Spartans. Could not keep that one alive. Central Washington with the point, 8-7 Wildcat lead.
That Central Washington block over the last couple points has really come alive, doing a nice job with timing, getting up and over and penetrating that net and slowing down this Tampa offense.
Tampa gets back on track with Katie McKeel tying the game up at 8. Courtney Vogler's serve, handled by the Wildcats. Nicole Dominguez keeping it alive for the Spartans. And the Spartans get the point. Vogler's serve. Central Washington gets the point on a Shelby Moritzen spike. The set is tied 9-9. Number 20, Gabrielle Ahara to serve. Central Washington gets the point. They take a 10-9 lead. Ihara to serve. Very nicely executed for the Spartans. Number 17, Jen Bomir, tying the setup 10 apiece. Nyla Demps checking back in for the Spartans. Sammy Mueller to serve. A ferocious slam, Taylor Fossler, giving Tampa the lead.
Yeah, that's great execution by the Spartans on a free ball play, essentially getting a free point. Molly McIlvaney doing a nice job handling the pass, and Taylor Fossler hitting a nice tempo ball in the middle.
Nyla Demps lining it up. Handled nicely by the Wildcats. Kept alive by the Spartans. Sarah Joffs using her length to prevent that one. Point Wildcats. Moritzen to serve for Central Washington. Again, Sarah Joffs. That time denied. Point will go to Tampa.
Yeah, Fossler was just able to stick that ball right between that small space between Joff's forearms and the net.
Again, Taylor Fossler, one-on-one against Joffs. She wins the battle.
Yeah, Fossler has really come alive here in this set for Tampa. 6 kills on 9 swings for the match. If something works, you just keep going to it.
Nicely kept alive by Central Washington. Nyla Demps lining it up. Handled by the Wildcats. Dominguez lining it up. Nice by the Spartans. They get the point. 14-11 Tampa lead. Very nice play, keeping it alive by Sammy Mueller. Here comes Fossler, handled by the Wildcats. Point Central Washington, 14-12 Tampa lead. Kyla Morgan to serve for the Wildcats. Nicely executed by Nyla Demps. Point Tampa. Checking back in for the Spartans, Courtney Voigler. McElvaney's serve, handled by Central Washington. Very nicely executed by both Voigler and Nyla Demps. Tampa gets the point, which results into a timeout for the Wildcats as they look to regroup. Kelly, what do you see different here in terms of energy and the formula for the Spartans here in the second set compared to the first?
Yeah, the Spartans made a couple lineup changes, which I think have been huge for them. Molly McElvaney at the libero position, and also Katie McKeel on the outside position now. I think Demps and Fossler have really come alive for the Spartans in this set. Demps with 6 kills, Fossler with 6 herself. And I think those things, along with, again, just playing what we had talked about, their tempo of offense has really kind of sparked a nice comeback and a 4-point edge here in the second set.
Absolutely. Central Washington will look to regroup. Meanwhile, Tampa will try to continue to bring the intensity as they look to even up the sets one apiece.
Tampa currently back to their offensive form, hitting a .333 in this set with 12 kills, holding the Central Washington offense to an .056 with just 4 kills. So that's a big difference in the stat line right now, having 12 kills compared to 4. And if Tampa can keep that up, that should prove victorious here in the second set.
Coming out of the timeout, nice execution by the Wildcats as they get the point. Subbing back in for the Wildcats, number 11, Bridget Webb, and number 19, Nikki Cook. Nikki Cook to serve. Nyla Demps lining it up. Very nicely executed. Tampa gets the point.
And that was a great cross body shot by Nyla Demps, really finishing with her hand over her body, taking that ball really hard cross. That's going to be tough for most defenses to defend.
Jenna Prelee and Jen Beaumier checking back in for the Spartans.
So Tampa making another adjustment here in their lineup, going with the senior Jenna Prelee as opposed to the freshman Melissa Elias.
Central Washington getting the point on that sequence. Sabrina Wheelhouse at that 6'3" frame, proving to be tough for the Spartans. Nicole Dominguez lining it up. She gets it. She gets the point for the Spartans, 18-14, as she rushes over to get the ball to serve. 18-14, Spartan lead. Very nicely executed by number 17, Jen Beaumier. Point, Tampa. Another timeout by Mario Ndaya as he looks to get his team back on track. The Spartans have looked rejuvenated here in the second set. And the Wildcats are looking for answers, trying to get back to what worked for them in the first set.
If the Wildcats can get a good pass here out of the timeout, I'd expect for them to use their middles to go to Sabrina Wheelhouse. She was first on the team in 2016 in hitting efficiency, and she's doing a nice job tonight with 4 kills, hitting a .429.
Dominguez to serve for the Spartans. Central Washington gets the point, going back to Sabrina Wheelhouse in the middle. Wheelhouse ready to serve. Very nicely executed by Courtney Vogler. Tampa gets the point. They're up 20-15. Taylor Fossler returns to the game, along with Shelby Jocelyn. Nicely executed for the Wildcats. Bridget Webb getting credit. Voigler quick to return for the Spartans.
Yeah, Tampa just executing the serving sub action there where they just have her going just for the middle, serving for Vogler, but then she's got to come right back out of the match since she's in for the libero.
Central Washington gets the point, cutting the lead to 20-17 Tampa. Gabrielle Ihara to serve for Central Washington. Handled by Dominguez. Very nicely executed by the Spartans. Number 17, Jen Bomir. Nyla Demps re-enters the game along with Jenna Preeley.
Tampa right where they want to be in the rotation now with Nyla Demps on the floor as well as Fossler.
Point Central Washington as Dempsey's kill was just a little bit outside. 21-18 Tampa lead.
On a good pass and serve receipt, I'd expect the Spartans to get the ball to Fossler here in the middle. She's had a ton of success in this set.
Demps keeping it alive for the Spartans. Handled by Central Washington. And the Wildcats get the point. 21-19 Tampa, and that'll lead to a Tampa timeout. Some nice resiliency by the Wildcats, fighting back from a marginal lead, but cutting it to a 2-point deficit at the moment. Kelly, it seems that Tampa needs to get back to Fossler. She had a lot of success early in this set and hasn't been quite as effective since returning back to the game.
Yeah, I think it's common in volleyball, setting the middle statistically, while they yield a very high hitting efficiency, often for especially young setters, it's more of a high-risk set. Sometimes there can be some miscues in terms of tempo, not setting fast enough, setting too fast. So I think now that we're here at the end of this set and the score is probably a little bit tighter than Tampa would want, we're kind of seeing them go back to pumping the pins. But I imagine after a timeout, kind of settling them down. They just need a good pass, and exactly just like you said, I think getting the ball to Fossler is definitely going to be a good option for the Spartans. Having Demps in the front row as well is going to hold that blocker out at the pin, and we should be able to get a quick kill here right out of the timeout.
Shelby Morrison ready to serve for the Wildcats. Handled by Dominguez. The Spartans get the point. Number 11, Katie McKeel. 22-19 Tampa lead. That serve was out of play. Point Central Washington. Morgan to serve for Central Washington. Nyla Demps very nicely executes the tip, catching the Wildcats off guard. 23-20 Tampa lead. Serve didn't get there for Tampa. Point Central Washington.
That's definitely not a stat line that Tampa's boasting about right now, having 4 service aces or errors, in just this set alone.
Dominguez denied that time by Sabrina Wheelhouse. Point Central Washington. We have a nail biter in the second set. Timeout Tampa. 23-22 Spartan lead. This primetime matchup has not failed to impress. Very entertaining so far. What do you think the keys are for Tampa here, Kelly, to win this set in the final couple rounds?
I think the Spartans just really need to settle down. We've seen a lot of unforced errors, so things that they are doing that is, the Wildcats are not forcing them into that. They've missed 2 serves since the last Wildcat timeout, and, there's a lot of different schools of thought in terms of serving, but I really think, especially the Spartans right now, I know Coach Katnack would not be impressed with that service line. They've got 7 service errors and have no service aces to show for it. So that kind of tells me we're being a little too aggressive for what we're getting out of it. So I think the Spartans just really need to settle down. They just had a nice break. Take a breather. Get a nice pass. I think they can have a lot of success, again, going back to either the middle, Courtney Vogler, or even Nyla Demps, then getting the timeout and earning that set point. We want to get to that 24 first.
Nikki Cook with the serve, handled by Tampa. Kept alive nicely by the Spartans. Sabrina Wheelhouse using that length. Tie it all. 23-23 here in the second set. Nikki Cook with the serve. Central Washington gets the point. We're at a match point, 24-23. Sorrel Houghton coming in for the Spartans.
Tampa making a strategic sub here. They don't have any timeouts. They don't have an opportunity to slow down the match. So typically, coaches, it's nothing Nicole Dominguez did. They just simply want to try to slow down this match right now.
Kept alive by the Wildcats. Nicely executed by the Spartans. Sorrel Houghton getting the point. 24-24.
Houghton, the freshman coming off the bench, completely cold. She hasn't taken a swing this entire set. Gets back-to-back balls and ends up with a kill to tie this thing up for Tampa.
Jenna Preeley to serve for the Spartans. And the serve handled by Central Washington. Nicely kept alive by the Spartans. An emphatic block for the Spartans. They get the lead, 25-24. One more point for the Spartans, and we'll have an even set match, one apiece, if they are able to succeed. Preeley with the serve. And Central Washington tying it up 25 apiece. And Maggie McDart getting ready to serve for the Wildcats. Very nicely executed. Courtney Vogler gets the kill. 26-25, Spartan lead. Here's the freshman, Sorrel Houghton, to serve. At a play, Central Washington getting the point. McKenna Smith to serve for the Wildcats. The Spartans unable to save that 1 point. Wildcats. Kept alive by Central Washington. Tampa gets the point, evening it up 27 apiece.
We're going to play this thing out until one team wins by 2. So even though we normally play to 25, we'll play it out until either the Wildcats or Spartans have a 2-point edge, and there's no cap in Division II volleyball. So we will play this thing as long as it takes.
We could be here for a while. Central Washington finding the floor, 28-27. Wildcat lead. Madison Wegg re-entering the game for Central Washington. Fossler's kill attempt handled by the Wildcats. And out of play, the Wildcats win the set. 2-0 Wildcat lead in terms of sets. Some nice resiliency there by the Wildcats, overcoming a marginal deficit, fighting back to win 29-27. Tampa will look to regroup as they try to come from behind. So Kelly, if you're Coach Katnack, what are you telling your team being down 2-0? How do you inspire them to stay with it, come back in hopes of overturning a 2-0 deficit?
Well, I know Coach Katnack has a ton of those inspiring speeches, so I won't guess what he's saying to his team other than just settle down. Offensively, they did a lot of nice things. from the first set. That's a big thing that we had talked about, getting their offense going. They had done that, but one thing that just absolutely crushed them that set was unforced errors. Especially we saw that there late after 20 points, multiple missed serves, multiple attacking errors. Just in that set alone, the Spartans made 12 unforced errors. So essentially, they handed the Wildcats 12 points without them having to do anything, which is always going to be tough to win and overcome that from the set. So despite the Spartans hitting a 316 in that set, those unforced errors just really hurt them deep into that set there.
The Spartans will look to clean up their play in hopes of winning the third set and keeping this match alive. A competitive match so far. Two very skilled teams. A good learning experience here for the Spartans, but their backs up against the wall, down 2-0.
And the Spartans have continued to make lineup changes throughout today, throughout the entire day against New Haven and as well against Central Washington. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of tweaks they make with the lineup, any changes they go with, and see if, those pieces, that's the right combination to propel Tampa to the win.
We're almost ready to start the third set. Both teams huddling up. Must-win set here for Tampa to keep this match alive. They'll try their best to keep this match going. Meanwhile, Central Washington will try to end this game in dramatic fashion. Resume action. In the third set, Sammy Mueller is going to start us off with the first serve. Central Washington gets the first point on a nice play by Madison Wegg. Kyla Morgan to serve for the Wildcats. Nice execution by Nyla Dempsey, evening the score at 1 apiece. Dominguez serves for the Spartans. And the Spartans get the point. They are leading 2-1 in the third set. Nice execution by the Spartans. Number 16, Taylor Fossler. 3-1, Tampa lead. Dominguez's serve handled by the Wildcats. Number 21, Madison Wegg, earning the point for the Wildcats.
Wegg now leading the Wildcats with 7 kills this match.
Nice execution by Bridget Webb, tying the score at 3-3 in the third set. Number 15, Michaela Swart to serve for Central Washington. Nice save by Kyla Morgan. Tampa setting up their attack. An emphatic kill for number 9, Sorrel Houghton. 4-3 Spartan lead. Molly McIlvaney to serve. Very nice block by Courtney Vogler. 5-3 Spartan lead. Kyla Morgan keeping it alive for the Wildcats. Very nicely executed again by Sorrel Houghton. 6-3 Tampa lead. Very nice block by Courtney Vogler. 7-3 Tampa.
Vogler having a career night in that category, currently with 6 blocks. Easily a career high for her, having limited time last year as a freshman.
Tampa gets the point again. Vogler's presence at the net proving to be trouble for Central Washington, leading to a Mario Andaya timeout. You can tell, Kelly, there's a real sense of urgency with the Spartans here in the third set, being down 2-0, coming out with a lot of fire, a lot of intensity. They really want this set.
Absolutely. Tampa playing really well right now on both sides of the ball. Already recording 2 blocks in this set just early on and hitting a 500 offensively.
Central Washington will try to regroup, make this game a little bit closer, while Tampa really needs the set and they look to prevail. Molly McIlvaney getting ready to serve for the Spartans. Out of the timeout, the Wildcats get the first point. 8-4 Spartan lead. Point going to Central Washington. Maggie McTaggart serve for the Wildcats, handled by the Spartans. Central Washington gets another point, 8-6. They're closing in on the Spartans' lead.
Yeah, we've seen a much different team from the Wildcats after the timeout, but also the Spartans unable to get anything going from serve receive. Right there, only earning the point off of an unforced error on the Wildcat side.
9-6 Tampa lead. Getting ready to serve, Jenna Preeley for the Spartans. Central Washington getting the point. A nice play by number 5, Shelby Morrison. Sarah Joffs re-entering the game for the Wildcats. Nicely done by Courtney Voigler. 10-7, Tampa lead.
Yeah, Houghton doing a nice job there, also setting that block to make sure Vogler could come right to her, get a nice seal on that ball, and press over the net.
Sorrel Houghton to serve for the Spartans. Nice execution there by Maggie McTaggart, finding open room. 10-8, Spartan lead. Madison Wegg re-entering the game for the Wildcats.
Work now.
Spartans unable to keep that one alive. Point, Central Washington. Gabrielle Ahara to serve for Central Washington. Denied. Madison Wegg showing her presence, tying the game up 10 apiece. Shelby Jocelyn re-entering the game for Tampa. Ihara's serve didn't get there. 11-10, Tampa lead. Tampa getting the point. 12-10, Spartan lead. Nice teamwork by the Spartans. Sarah Joffs showing her presence, getting the point for Central Washington. Moritson to serve for the Wildcats. Central Washington tying the game up 12-12. Very nice play, Shelby Morrison giving Central Washington the lead. Timeout, Tampa. The Spartans will look to regroup as they hope to keep this match alive. Down 13-12 here in the third set. These early season out-of-conference matchups are important for both teams. Facing against a very talented opponent that they'll surely look back on at the end of the season and be happy they played against each other.
Absolutely. Well, this match obviously won't count in terms of having, boosting their in-region record. I know both head coaches really look to play the toughest opponents they can, out of conference, out of region. Again, just for that experience, they're going to face teams just like this come December, late November and into December for the NCAA tournament. And this is going to be a really important match to have in terms of experience. And obviously, whichever team can get the win, that'll boost their confidence going into the next one.
Shelby Moritzen to serve for Central Washington. Nice play there for the Wildcats. They take a 14-12 lead. Central Washington gained the point, 15-12 Wildcats. Dominguez re-entering for the Spartans. Tampa gained the point on some nice effort by Nicole Dominguez. Re-entering the game for the Spartans, number 7, Nyla Demps. And number 4, Sammy Mueller, who's getting ready to serve.
These 3 rotations with Demps and Mueller statistically have been some of the strongest for Tampa really the entire match. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do with those 2 in the match.
Nice work by Taylor Fossler, earning the point for Tampa. 15-14 Central Washington lead. Central Washington earns the point, 16-14 Wildcat lead. As Sabrina Wheelhouse re-enters the game. Nicole Dominguez with a prolific kill. 16-15 Central Washington. Central Washington earning the point. Tampa will need to come back if they want to keep this match alive. Some nice work there by Tampa, earning the point.
Often the freshman making just a really smart play there. Sometimes you always don't have to go for that big swing, just tipping it right over the block to score a point for your team.
Very nice denial by Sorrel Houghton and Courtney Vogler, tying the game up 17-17. Point Central Washington. Taggart serve. Confusion by the Spartans. Point, Central Washington. Central Washington with a nice block there in the point. Timeout Tampa, 2017 Central Washington. It's been a mixture of their length and their experience so far that Central Washington is using over Tampa at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah. And again, I think just Tampa's offense, we've talked about it a lot, but I think now they're kind of going back to, again, just like you said, their size and experience, so they're going to be there blocking wise. And I think we're seeing some uncharacteristic plays. Just, Nyla Demps on that last ball, it was kind of a tight ball. There wasn't a big opportunity for you just to take a rip and get a kill, but I think that inexperience, she just wants to put the team on her back and try to take a big swing. But with the size of the Wildcats, she's got to make a smart play there.
Maggie McTaggart getting ready to serve for the Wildcats. Denied by the Wildcats. A combination of Sabrina Wheelhouse and Bridget Webb.
And another freshman in the exact same thing that we just talked about. That's a really, really big block. And it's not a bad thing to just go up and tip a ball over the block and try to score a point.
And Tampa gets a block. Combination of Nyla Demps and Courtney Vogler. A big sequence here for the Spartans if they want to keep this match alive. Jenna Preeley to serve. Impressive teamwork that time by the Spartans. They get the point. 21-19. Again, another block for the Wildcats, 22-19. Sarah Joffs re-entering the game for Central Washington. Michaela Swart checking in for the Wildcats. Swart with the serve. Central Washington earning the point, 23-19, Wildcat lead. The Wildcats get to 24 points. They're at their match point, trying to end this match. And the Wildcats reach 25 points. They win the first 3 sets. They win the match. Tampa fought hard, but the experience and the length of Central Washington proved to be too much tonight. Please join us tomorrow at 10:30 as the Tampa Spartans host Pace University.